Beer has always kind of been a part of my career. As a beverage professional, I was a sommelier. The first industry place I worked at was a small wine bar in San Jose called Wine Affairs, but we had a really amazing beer program. That fall, and I went the following year as well, went to a Belgian beer festival in Brussels and really kind of was shocked at what I found and what I tasted. It was unlike anything I had ever thought possible that could be flavors wise from a beer standpoint. So I got a small homebrewing equipment, started with all grain. I've never done any sort of, malt extract or anything like that. Brewing is easy. Making beer is really easy. Making good beer is very hard. It keeps me learning. It's the whole reason I became a sommelier as well. It's a lifelong career of learning. But I don't really have a lot of additive styles of beer. What's the most important to me is the grain. Rye particularly grows very well in New York State. And there are two different species of rye that I use in the beer, which of course is the most important grain for me since I put it in every single one of my beers. I really love kind of a lot of the old pub and tavern culture in England. The first time I visited England, they were still serving a loaf and an ale together. And to me, there was nothing more just satisfying in the simplest of things. And, two things that are so connected to each other from a historical standpoint. It's the same ingredients, just fermented in different ways. Funnily enough, it was almost kind of a joke. Brian had gotten into bread making before we had even really conceptualized the entire business.
We literally were just organically sitting around one night, having our dinner, a glass of wine, talking about the ideas behind the business, and it was just, well, what about beer and bread? Like, why couldn't we incorporate both? That connection, that linking back, making something old new and moving forward with it is it's just fascinating. I really love the full process of bread making because it is both artistic and scientific. I'm not super heady into the nerdy and science of it. I can't pronounce the Latin names of the yeast strains or anything like that. I think Erica's dream of wanting a small brewery, after her time spent in Colorado, it was bubbling to the surface when we moved up here, and it seemed possible. The community seemed to, have space for it. There was bandwidth for something like that.
I think what's amazing about Central New York is that we are still a little bit unknown, and I think there is still a new discovery for people to make. You really are coming into our home. We kind of feel it's almost like we're throwing, a big dinner party every day. For us, it's about reconnecting with nature. We want people to kind of have an opportunity to slow down, especially when, the world is kind of very busy.
Again, that word intentional. We intentionally set out to supply a place that people can just come chill. Like, as lofty and old school as that sounds, it's just like, hey man, let's just hang out, have a beer, have some snacks. That's why we're all here, bread and beer, It's just who we are, it's what we're about. You're literally coming to our home, to our property, and we want to know who you are, so come say hi.